Welcome to this episode on Learning VSA series. In this episode, we are going to study these charts of four different stocks, which are Exide, L&T Finance Holdings, KEI, and Carborundum Universal. The disclaimer: I'm not a SEBI registered technical analyst. This is not any recommendation to buy or sell any stock. The aim of this video is to share on how I make my study of charts, which is mainly based on VSA, and thereby share some knowledge focusing on VSA. Also, I have to mention that I have positions on all these stocks which are studied in this video. In this session, the first chart we are going to study is of Exide India. I have the weekly chart with me here. As you can see, it made a all-time high in the year 2018. Then it came down here, and 2020 it tried to move up here, and it faced rejection at the 220 levels and came down again to the last support levels. Now it is attempting to move up here. We can see here it is moving up, and there was some consolidation around these levels. Now it's again trying to move up. We had a very wide up bar, almost a buying climax type of bar with very high volume. And you can see some committed buying coming in the weekly levels as well. And it now, the last week it closed above these high volume bar, which is again a good sign. And if you look at on the weekly as well, the relative strength has been positive for quite some time, and also the money flow has been positive, and the buying pressure is also positive here. And if you look at on the wave chart as well, now if you can see here, the recently the last 2 months you can see the buy waves are dominant here. So let's quickly move to the daily chart to see in much more detail. You can see, so this has been consolidating from last December, almost 5 months of sideways movement you can see here, and you can see a lot of committed buyers coming here, trying to push up the stock. And this committed buying means that the people are expecting the stock to move up further. And let's try to look up the money flow is again positive. The relative strength is also positive. On the background of the histogram, I have the index, actually the Nifty 500 performance here. You can see it has been actually on the uptrend now. You can see the green bars. It has been on the uptrend here. So when both the index and the overall broader market and the stock are doing well, it is obviously a good sign here. And looking at the wave chart as well, you can see the buying waves are really dominant here. Coming back to our main chart here, you can see there was a buying climax type of bar here, and that of course give some more supply here, but here you can see the supply has been overcome and it is closing up here above the high of the high volume bar or the BC type of bar. So that is again a positive sign. Now we are in actually a supply zone a previous long-term supply zone. You can see. So this 220 is an important level for us, and if you can see, all the moving averages are perfectly aligned here, and the 200 DMA is inclined upwards, and the 30-week moving average is also going up, and all the other moving averages are perfectly aligned up one above the other and are moving up here. So everything seems to be aligned well for the stock, and once above 220, the stock could move up to 300 levels, and it's perfectly making a higher high now. So we need to wait till it crosses beyond 220, and it will be a perfect stock to move to 300 levels. The next chart that we are going to study is that of L&T Finance Holdings. I have the weekly chart with me here. As you can see, the stock made a high of about 220 levels in the year 2017, and it has been coming down since then, and then it made a low here, an attempt to move up here, face rejection around 113 levels, and then it came down here. But the first attempt, you can see it never made above the 200 DMA levels, and it came down here. And again, now it is attempting to move up. Let me move into the chart. You can see here the last attempt was around could not cross these 213 levels. Now this has been making a higher high, higher low pattern, and also you can see some consolidation around this level. There was a rejection around 98 levels. Now in the last week or the last month, you can say the attempt has finally taken out the last rejection zone. You had a very good up bar here. It was good buying bar here. The next bar faced some supply here as seen by the week. And the next bar again attempted to move up, but again supply pushed it, and it ended up as a doji, indicating the balance between the supply and demand. Again an attempt to move up, some supply here, but the last week's bar you can see clearly overcame that supply and ended up clearly closed above the rejection zone, and it's all above the moving averages, 200 30-week, the lower time frame moving averages, and also we can see good amount of long-term buyers or the committed buyers as indicated by the delivery volumes here. A quick look at the money flow has been quite positive for some time, and also the the relative strength has been positive here. And the wave chart also indicating good buy waves here. There was some consolidation, as I said before. You can see, as indicated, the none of the buying or selling dominating here, and now the buying wave has been dominating. Now let me quickly move to the daily chart. Coming to the daily chart, you can see from almost a year back, it started trying to move up here. And from last December onwards, it has been moving sideways. You can like a perfect Wyckofian accumulation range. You can see here, it has been moving sideways. and clearly a spring happening here. And from here onwards, the movement has been up here. You can see now all these moving averages are perfectly aligned here. The 200 DMA 30-week moving averages 50, 35, and 13. All these are moving are perfectly aligned one above the other. And here, let me move it a little closer. Here, there was an attempt to move above the accumulation range or a breakout from the accumulation range. But there was a lot of supply here, and the very high volume was also there. Then slowly the supply was absorbed, and then we have an effort to move a bar here, pushing up above the accumulation zone, and then it is trying to move up here. Again, we have a very high volume bar here, but again there is an attempt to move up. So, and you can see a lot of uh, interested buyers or the committed buyers are coming in here. And also, let's look at the money flow has been positive. Let me zoom in a little here. The money flow has been positive. The relative strength has been positive. The buying pressure was little negative here, and now it is turning up again. And looking at the wave chart as well, you can see that clearly there's a dominance of the buy waves here. So the stock seems to be all set to move up much higher, but we have a crucial level of 113 that may pose a little resistance around this 113 levels, and beyond that it should seek up 200 levels. The next chart which we are going to study is that of KEI. It has been a stock which has been in an uptrend for the last 3 years. As you can see from this weekly chart, from early 2021, the stock has been moving up. Of course, there were a lot of trading ranges or accumulation periods where then it started moving up. There's in different steps it has started moving up, and it is still continuing to move up. And it is the moving averages are very nicely laid one after the other. We can see it is very much above the 200 DMA 30 weeks moving average. Even the short term 50-day moving average, it is very much above that in the weekly chart. So it is really on an uptrend here. Let's quickly go into the daily chart. You can see the daily chart, it was still moving. Of course, here it was almost in a range, but it tried to move out of this range here, but it was confined within this supply line here, or the trend line you can call it, or in VSA terms we call it the supply line here. And finally here you can see, I will zoom in a bit here, it finally moved above the supply line with very high volume, almost like a buying climax bar. So one had to be careful there, and that quickly the supply was absorbed here, and again it pushed forward. As you can see here, there was supply in this bar, and again in this bar there was supply. And here, even in this bar, when it moved out, you could see a lot of supply was coming in here, but finally it moved out with two back-to-back effort to move bar, indicating bullishness. Now, from that time onwards, it has been moving sideways, but you can see it is sort of contracting here. The volatility is contracting here, and you can see a lot of delivery volumes here, indicating that long-term buyers are stepping in here. So, and here again you can see it's very nicely poised. The moving averages are stacked one above the other very nicely. And we can see here the money supply was good. Here again, the relative strength has been quite positive here. And of course, the buying and selling pressure, there's always ups and downs here. So, but in general, it is on, the trend is on, and the now we can see a contraction. So we can expect soon a big move from here onwards, taking it to the higher side. Of course, theoretically, it could come below also, but looking at the background strength and the delivery volumes, we can see that the probability of going up higher is still there. So, this stock could really go up higher. Now, if you look at trading view has got a very nice indicator here. You can see here it is the net income. You can see it has been constantly going up. Of course, there were some dips in between, but it has been constantly moving up, indicating the fundamentals are quite good in this stock. So the chances of this stock moving up much higher from these levels is still good. And here again, the risk to reward ratio also will be good. So this stock is nicely poised for much more up move. We will look at one more chart, which is at all-time high, and also with the probability of moving higher. It is the weekly chart. As you can see, it has been sideways till the year 2020, and from October to 2020 onwards, it started moving up. It became in an uptrend, and of course, it faced some rejection in 2022 at 1034 levels, and it dipped much below. And then again, it started moving up, making higher high patterns. And finally, recently it took out the previous rejection zone on the weekly chart, and it's moving up higher here, as we can see here. And there has been some increase in the delivery volumes as well. So let's move to the daily chart and see how it is performing there. In the daily chart as well, it has been moving up here. The trend has been upward from here onwards. It has been up. Of course, there has been sideways ranges here. You can see ranges move upward again, range, and then moving up. But the last stretch has been really good here. Huge amount of delivery volumes coming in here, and it reached an all-time high, and then now it is retracing here, and it is at the 13-day moving average now. But you can see the volume has dwindled, so it is a healthy retracement, and we can expect it to move further here. And you can look at the moving averages, nicely poised. 200 DMA, 30 weeks moving average, 50 DMA, like that. It is nicely stacked one above the other, indicating strength, and the trend is upward here. So if you look, let's look at the other parameters which normally look. Of course, you can see the money flow has been really positive and increasing, and you can see the relative strength is also good. And as usual, your buying pressure is also like it goes up and down, but the buying pressure is dominating here. So it looks like it is nicely poised to move further. Let's quickly look at the trading view indicator on net income, which I've plotted here. As you can see, it has been constantly increasing here, indicating the fundamentals are good. And so the chances of it moving higher will also look good. So at this stage, the reward risk seems to be nicely paused here. So any danger should come below these 1130 levels. One should be cautious, but till that time, the uptrend still remains. So this is another stock which is likely to move to higher ground. I hope you found this video useful and were able to garner a little more knowledge on the ways to study the stock charts. In case you did find this video useful, please do press the like button. You can also subscribe to the channel to get notified when future videos are released. Thank you very much.